Paid subscribers, this is for you. This is for you. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed the No Kings weekend. I can tell you one thing. I had a hell of a No Kings weekend. Tiring, you start to realize that you're not that youngster anymore when a rally turns out to be likely 10 times the size that you expected the rally to be. And not only was it 10 times the size that it was expected to be, but it also meant that it covered a large area because we try to stand up in a linear fashion along the street. So we had an intersection and we lined the streets, and I walked all those streets. In other words, it would be 8 segments. If two streets crossing on either side of the streets, 8 segments. I walked all of that to try to get the pulse of everybody that was on the line, and I made a video of that. So what I want to do is I'm going to start out with playing that video of what I did, and then I'll come back and talk about some other issues. But I really want to see people to see the pulse of what we're talking about here. So hear this out, and then we'll take it on the other side. Kingwood, Texas had the most successful and peaceful protest that has ever occurred in this town by volume, by numbers, and by the types of policies these people were protesting about in the No Kings protest that we had. And I can't tell you how, first of all, how amazed I was of its success. It was so successful that at the allotted time that we were supposed to close it down, people refused to leave. They were just having fun, expressing themselves, expressing their rights to democracy, expressing their free speech rights. Protesting against a president that's a convicted felon. That's not only that he's a convicted felon, but he continues his felonies as he governs. This was arranged by Cindy Hendrickson, leader of the Indivisible Kingwood, and one has to commend the marvelous job that she, along with many of her other organizational leaders, put together in this framework. I taped the entire event. Unfortunately, I attempted to I live streamed it, and with the goal of using the videos from the live stream, I erred in that I should have had 2 cameras, one for live streaming and one for the actual interviews and images that I took, because the quality of the video is not very good, but I was able to salvage enough substantive video for you to get a feeling of what it was like on the ground. So without further ado, let me go ahead and play that, and then we'll take it on the other side. All right, talk to me. You're on my Substack right now. You want to say a little something?
Sure. I'm out here because the rule of law matters.
Yes.
Institution. Yeah. So right, left, doesn't matter. We should be standing up for those things.
Have you been active before? This is sort of your first rodeo.
Like this gentleman, I've been independent. I've voted for Republicans. I've voted for Democrats. And, if we had a normal Republican...
You would vote again. Yeah.
Out here.
Right.
But we have somebody who's tearing apart our democracy, and we have to stand up as citizens. Again, whether you're right or left,
right.
It's important to be.
I think it's important what you just said. Whether you're right or left, we have the responsibility as United States citizens to actually engage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Hello, sir. Yeah, want to say a little something? Tell me why you're out here.
Yeah. Well, I'm a veteran. I fought in Vietnam. We fought for democracy for everybody, and we're election beings. And I wondered what happened to democracy in this country. This is not. My father stood here and said they could see it's quite disappointing because we're all citizens of this country, not supposed to be followed. Surprised, and what is happening is not the answer here.
Well, thank you, sir. First of all, thank you very much for your service. And you hear a lot of that from folks. They don't really mean this stuff because they forget about your veterans benefits. They forget about all of that. Know that that's what we fight for, and we want to thank you for what you've done. Thank you, sir. Hello. Look at my brother. How you doing? Look at that sign. No kings. Aren't you a king? You are no king. Why are you here?
I thought when I heard you ask that question, if you have to ask, you wouldn't understand.
Well, I remember I'm just asking with a blank slate. I need to hear from you. It's not about me. It's about you.
Listen to the news. That's all you got to do.
There you go. There you go, brother. All right. All right.
I'm a 30-year veteran.
Yes.
Vietnam veteran. I can't stand this idea of using the troops. Meaningful pay and benefits to the veterans and Medicare and Medicaid cuts, Social Security cuts. This is democracy, representative democracy. We don't need it.
Thank you, my brother. That's a good one. Thank you. All right. Hello. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
Well, why are you here, my friend? Look, I know the answer, okay, but I still have to ask. Remember, I got to be objective. How you doing?
I'm doing fancy. The sign says it all.
You know what? I'm going to tell you something. I've seen all kind of sign. I haven't seen such a very well put sign than that one. Okay. So tell me a little bit about yourself, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm a pope.
Okay.
I like playing around with words. And right now, really and truthfully, enough fucks.
Right.
We cannot have a constitution being violated. Be the people. I mean, it means a lot. A lot of people die. There are a lot of people. My father fought World War II when he was 16 years old. That fight was for democracy. It's 16 years old, okay? So it's really important to me that what we have is preserved. It's not perfect, but this is the wrong direction. This is absolutely the wrong direction.
Thank you very much, sir. You want to say a few words?
Oh, you don't want to start that.
Well, then just because you started that, what I want to hear from you.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
First of all, I don't know whether anybody else has heard, they got these documents now that say that Trump asked for, on January 6th, asked for 10,000 National Guard. Oh, let me think. Compulsive liar? We're going to believe that? No. Plus the fact he has overwrought everybody because he has overreached his comments about what he was going to win for. And he's taking people that is in here 50, 60 years who have no criminal record. And I'm going to stop because I'll just...
Well, I'm glad that you brought up from. I have to remember that Vice President Vance is the one who had to call up the guards because he didn't do it. So any document that says otherwise,
yes,
it's a fraud.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell me, why are you out here? Why are you?
Because I just got out of here and I missed all the other protests. So I was working. Now I have a chance to do this for my grandchildren and great-grandchildren.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Hello, this is John Carter. This is the president of the one and only Humble Area Democrats. What's up, my man?
It's great to be in the crowd and so many people out here to defend democracy today.
You know, you remember we used to do together Occupy Kingwood.
Yes.
It's amazing. This is probably 10 times the crowd. This just shows you the condition that we're in relative to then.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's that much worse.
It's so heartwarming, I guess is the right word, that so many people here in Kingwood are coming out, waving their flags, they have their signs, and they're standing up for our rights.
We are the real Americans.
Yes, we are.
We are the ones that really stand in for the Constitution. Thank you very much, John. John Carter, my brother. Take it easy.
Bill Richter.
Bill, you are Bill. How you doing, Bill? Talk to me, my friend.
Oh, we're glad to be here today. Support democracy. And we love your work, and we are amazed.
I am very amazed myself. And look, thank you for being here. This is what we need. Ma'am, talk to me.
Oh, man, I'm your greatest fan.
I appreciate you. I really appreciate you. I appreciate you. Why are you here?
I'm delighted to be here. And it's human justice, human law. We lose democracy. And I'm so glad that it's gotten out.
You know, we were concerned about being in Kingwood, whether we were going to have the crowd, because there was a lot of threats, etc. And it showed. I won't hold you back anymore, but please, thank you very much again for coming. Thank you much. Thank you much for coming. All right. Take care. Why are you here?
I'm here to protest. No kids.
Oh, I love it. Is that your wife?
Yes, it is.
You know why they say they are a better half? They're quicker on your leg. Why are you here again?
Those are here.
Thank you.
Right.
All right. Why are you here?
I'm here to show our community that there's a lot of us here, and this is America. No more no kings allowed, and that's where TMT is. So I'm here to show our neighbors that there's a lot of us here. We're getting a lot of positive reactions from the drivers that are passing by, and you can see we've got a good.
It's you participated with us when we did Occupy Kingwood. And what's interesting is, as I was telling, this crowd is more than 10 times what we were getting. Let me tell you different. We also have a lot of folks approach me
to let me know they're not Democrats, they're Republicans and independents who actually want to see a change. When you hit that number, you know what it says. We're there. We're there. Thank you very much. Well, what you want to tell our Substack audience?
What's going on is wrong.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to be taken seriously. I'm sorry. If they're in this country and on this soil,
Yeah.
you have rights, period.
Exactly.
You need due process. Everybody else, your budget is long. 70302. Great budget bill needs to go because we're neutering the courts financially.
And I think we're finally getting that out of the bill. But yeah, yes.
So everything's are lost.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you what's interesting. Among your people here, you got some Republicans that seek me out to tell me that they were Republicans. Does that tell you something?
Amen.
Does that tell you something?
A small, beautiful.
And look, the day turned out great. And we have several hundred people in Kingwood, Texas. In Kingwood, Texas.
Reagan wouldn't be allowed to be a Republican nowadays.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It is.
It is.
I protest.
I'm protesting. Okay,
I'm
yes.
supporting democracy.
You are what?
I'm supporting democracy.
That's what I want to hear.
My dad was in Germany before the Great War. Before that closed the borders, he was visiting grandparents. And so he had to deal with that. And knocked on the door. Grandson is not with me. He's living to learn that he got my grandfather down now. And so my dad came to this country, living and for grace and for openness, not to have another despot like Trump is revisit what Hitler.
There you go. I think you nailed it. And that's what we have to remember. That's what we have to. And, that's why we need to teach history. Let's say, sir.
We are Strawbridge United Methodist Church. We're here because we believe in democracy. And we tell that no matter where it's spectrum or your life, welcome to Strawbridge.
Thank you. So you tell me what you need to say.
It's not just about one person. It's about the Constitution. I'm a gay man. Been my husband for 28 years. I have an adopted daughter who's biracial. All these are things they want to take away from us. So that's why I'm here.
Well, you know what? Thank you for being out here and fighting. You know what I always say is the only way they can get what they're getting is if we cede it to them. You can't cede it to them. Hey, sis, how you doing, girl? Talk to me. What's up?
Oh, well, I'm here to say happy birthday to the Army, but I think I'm relaxing marching.
There you go. And let me get you signed. Perfect. Say that again.
Indivisible with liberty and justice for all.
Love it.
My sign says billionaire over billionaires because I'm most upset about the big, beautiful bill, $220 billion cut from renewable energy. That's not okay with me. Get it for the voice of the people. So I'm asking for your vote. I want to be a representative in Washington, D.C. For starters, I'm running in the 18th congressional district. Just get me up there a year earlier and find anyone else in the person. I mean, unseat pressure. Voice of treason.
Thank you very much, my brother. Let's speak to Cindy Hendrickson. Cindy is a woman who called in yesterday to let us know what was occurring. She put this together with Indivisible Kingwood. She has been working her ass off to get this organized. And we have to give her a big hand for, in a place like Kingwood, getting a performance like this. Cindy, what you got to say?
Well, I'm a little bit surprised. I didn't think we'd have this many people. I was hoping for 50.
You got hundreds.
And I'm really impressed. And the police are here and they are helping us, which is fabulous. This neighborhood is not ready for this. I see lots of shocked faces as they're coming down the street. Surprise, support. A couple MAGAs revving their engines.
That's fine.
For the most part, it's a lot of support here. And we need this because our community is fractured and we need to know that there are like-minded folks out here in Kingwood.
Well, look, thank you very much, Cindy. And again, congratulations for this hell of an event. You did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Now, I know I can expect a speech from you, so start it, my friend.
We are here because America in 1776 told the king we did not want a king. And Trump, by hook or by crook, is sneaking behind our back, running around the laws and getting Congress to pass things that will give him the powers of the king. All under the guise of, folks, we really need this budget. We have to get this budget done. Then there's 1,000 other things getting him powers. Never to be prosecuted in the court, to do whatever he wants. So, folks, we're here today to say we are here for democracy. No.
I love that. And that is coming from a teacher. And you know what profession I've always tell you guys, I believe is the number one profession in this country? Teaching. You're looking at a teacher, and likely I've passed so many teachers. They keep knowledge going forward. Here we go again, once again, with the president of the Humble Area Democrats, John Cotter. How you doing, John?
Egberto, how's the turnout today?
I am, put it this way, it is blowing my mind. And when I no, it's not only that. It's all the Kingwood Drive, Lake Houston Boulevard goes all the way down to near the bridge. Yep. And now look at that side. Look at that side, John. Yeah. We didn't expect this. No, not at all. We did not expect this. Yes. The work, Cindy Hendrickson did a lot of work. Oh, she did. You did a lot of work by having your Kingwood, your humble area Democrats be aware of it. That is what teamwork is all about, brother. Thank you, my man.
We're here.
Why are you here?
I'm here for my kids, for my students, for my country.
Are you a teacher?
Look, for 16 years.
I think teachers are the most important profession, bar none. Thank you for being a teacher. Absolutely. You're a teacher's mom. Well, you know what? You made the right thing. You produced the right thing. There you go. Teacher. You're a retired teacher? Thank you. Oh, retired teachers, thank you. Thank you for your service, brother. Let me tell you, when guys like us talk about we value your service and that thank you for your service, it's not just words. We actually support policies that support veterans. We don't just say it.
Right? Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, brother. Peace. Professor Steve, this is one of our leading professors in the Occupy Kingwood days.
That's right.
He was one of our great organizers. Talk to me about where we are as a country.
Oh my God, we're at rock bottom, I'd have to say, but I think things are looking better as I look around at all the people who turned out. It's just so incredibly encouraging. We're not dead yet. We're not going to lie down for this. We've seen this scripted history before, and people are determined not to see it.
Actually, you've told us a whole lot of what happened back in the 1920s, during the 30s, during the the 50s, during the Red Scare, and all of that, which we're reliving right now. Yes. But the reality is, when you see a place like Kingwood, and you back in the days of Occupy Kingwood, you know we had problems getting people out.
Yes.
This is amazing.
It really is. We never had more than a handful. Maybe we had 24 at our height.
Yeah.
We have hundreds here right now.
It is amazing.
Yes.
And I think it speaks well for, and just like you said, I don't want to use it yet. You said we're not dead yet. I want to say we're not ever going to be dead, because if we see stuff like this, this is what we're talking about. So
we're far off, Egberto. You mentioned the 1950s, but the 1920s and the 1930s are the script out, isn't it?
Oh, so okay, got you.
We're talking about that, and anyway, the historical parallels are.
No, tell us. We have an audience that need to know that kind of stuff.
With the rise of the Nazis and the rise of the fascist era, we thought he had slain the monster. The beast is out of the cabinet, and that he has a tendency to recycle. And that's exactly what we have to stay on right. I thought our country was exempt, but it's not.
Well, you know, Tom Hartman speaks a lot about that when he talks about democracy isn't something you can sit on. You have to keep working on it. So, brother, thank you very much for being out here. Nice to see you, Steve. Take care. Hey, Susan, how you doing, beautiful? Where's my brother? He decided not to come. Okay, all right. Everyone knows Susan, right? She runs the green stuff here in town. She's everybody's idol. Everybody's idol. And she can run, man. Who has that kind of stamina? You know, anyway, government of the people, by the people, for the people.
Again, this was likely the best event, the best protest, the best march I've seen in Kingwood, and I've been here for several decades. A conservative town that, you know, it votes probably 30-something% progressive. But what this rally showed is that many folks that were previously on the very conservative side, many folks that would never put themselves on a rally, that things have reached to the point where they have noticed that, in effect, the policies of the past that they once believed in had been nothing but a failure. And above and beyond that they want agency in their government. And that showed yesterday. You don't get the best protest ever in a town if that town isn't changing. And that is what I've been seeing empirically and now by the numbers. We have a town that is changing, and that can only be for the better of the country, because this town is representative of many other towns of its type around the country. Absolutely. So that town, our town here in Kingwood, Texas, a very red area, is very, very representative of the rest of the country. Anyway, if anybody wants to call in, we finally got a few more people in. Adam was our first warrior for the first few. Look, first of all, I sent out the thing just an hour and a half or so before the program, because again, I was under the gun trying to process all the videos from the what is it? The No Kings rallies and quite a few other things. I also want to point out that if anybody out there has a couple of pictures or so from any of the rallies from all over the country, I would love for you to submit them to me. Info@politicsdoneright.com, info@politicsdoneright.com. So maybe just a couple of pictures. And after that couple of pictures, give me about a 2 to 4 sentence of what's going on, how your impressions about your rally. Because what I want to do is, yes, I wrote up about the rally here in Kingwood, but I'd like to write up about, the temperature from around the country. I have about I think four people that have sent me in reports so far. Love to hear from some of you who attended. Let's see. Adam says you're a celebrity. I wish. It seems as though almost everyone recognized you right away. So you at KPFT must be getting the message. We are our station KPFT is 100,000 watt transmitter. So we get all the way into not Oklahoma. We get all the way into Louisiana. On the west and a little bit of the northwest of Louisiana. We also get way up north here in Texas. We cover the entire Houston metropolitan area, which is huge. When I say huge, I mean huge. It's a lot larger than, let's say, LA or any of those. In fact, let me see. Let's see. What's the square miles of Houston Metro? Let me put Houston first. The Houston area is 640 square miles. That's Houston proper, which is about 100 and change square miles more than LA, which is itself widely spread out. But the Houston metro area, check this out. The Houston metro area, which we cover the entire area, is 10,062 square miles. I repeat, 10,062 square miles. And we cover that entire thing. Can I listen to KPFT in Pennsylvania through iHeartRadio or something? Yes, you can actually use. I use iTunes, and you can pick up KPFT live on iTunes. There's a thing on your there's an app for your either Apple or Android called iTunes, and you can find KPFT on iTunes. I think you can still find it. While I'm here, let me just make sure that they haven't changed it. But I think iTunes still. I'm pretty sure iTunes still carries KPFT. I haven't picked it up en un largo rato, but meaning in a long time. But I know it is. Did I take iTunes off of my phone? It looked like iTunes didn't come back up, but yeah, I just go ahead and load iTunes on it, and it should be fine. All right, folks, I want to talk about something, and this is usually a touchy subject because anytime you speak about Israeli policy, people have a tendency to accuse you of anti-Semitism, and that couldn't be farther from the truth as far as my beliefs or anything like that. But I am very concerned about what's occurring between Israel and Iran right now, and I want to point out a few things. I was happy that Mehdi Hassan had the same thoughts that I had, and it goes as follows. And I want you guys to listen to this. Iran did not attack Israel. Israel attacked Iran. They went and they bombed different places in Iran that manufactured. First they took out their radars that gave them easier access to their skies. That's what Israel did, took out their assets. And followingly, Israel went in a few days ago and started bombing natural gas producing areas. They also bombed the nuclear cleaning place with a centrifuge where they actually enrich uranium. Now, the problem that I have with all of this is the following. It's how can a country that has nuclear weapons, Israel has purportedly up to 400 nuclear weapons, nuclear bombs, how can that country want to prevent, and that goes for the United States as well, prevent another country who wants to develop their own assets to protect themselves. How can that be the case? We have to remember something here. The Iranians allowed inspectors into their nuclear facilities. Israel says no nuclear inspectors from the world organizations. Iran has signed the IEH, the Treaty Against Non-Proliferation. Israel has not. Iran doesn't have any nuclear bombs yet. Israel has 80 to 400 purportedly. The question you have to ask again is what gives Israel the right, under the pretext of preemption, to go in and take out another country? I just don't understand it. And if somebody wants to give me a rationale for that, please let me know. Would being against Palestinians make someone an anti-Semite? I don't. Would being against, yeah, because Palestinians are Semitic, right? So I think you're absolutely right about that. Disagreeing with the actions of a country's government does not qualify one as someone that hates the people. That's true, because I am completely against what the Israeli government does. But there's nothing anti-Jewish, anti-Jew about me. In fact, when I make a lot of these statements, many times, I didn't do this time, but many times I try to go to one of my Jewish friends to see if there is something I'm missing because of some sort of insensitivity or otherwise, that I ask, am I wrong to think this way? And I have yet to have any one of them say, Egberto, well, you can't say that because. What they would say is, don't allow them to pin you or attempt to make it seem like you are an anti-Semite. I am a Jew, and I know that's the furthest from the truth. And likewise with Palestinians know the same thing about me as somebody on the radio. But we are in a danger zone, because here's my concern. Israel went ahead and attacked Iran. Iran is firing back a whole lot of ballistic missiles. 15% of the ballistic missiles get through. What will Israel's reaction be if one of those critical missiles, what will it be if one of those critical missiles hits something that Israel deems very critical? Will it then, and let me tell you another possibility that I'm thinking of. Israel, we know, have the atomic bomb, but Israel does not have a delivery system to create bunker busting bombs. And supposedly, they don't have the ability to deliver it. And America supposedly will not deliver these bombs for them. My contention is, given Israel's irresponsibility, given Netanyahu's war stance and his genocidal behavior, it would not surprise me if he used a nuclear weapon to bust through those underground places where they enrich the uranium. And when the radiation starts to fly, he denies using a nuclear bomb and claim that, well, that radiation came from blowing up these centrifuges. And the thing about it, it won't be hard to detect the different types of radioactive material, right? It wouldn't. But do you think the United States will actually facilitate making the truth come out about the type of isotopes of uranium being exposed in the air when if Israel was to blow up a nuke to get to those bunkers? I don't think so. For a Better World says we need to think past either or instead. We need to think in terms of human beings first and universal rights to security, economic, territorial, and cultural and religious. I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. The thing about it, though, is we have to have an honest discussion. We have to prevent the hypocrisy that we see right now. We have to remember, I always use this example because it hurts to the core and it affects me directly. The United States wanted to arrest Manuel Antonio Noriega, the former dictator of Panama, because he wouldn't go along with them to invade Nicaragua. I think it was Nicaragua, not else. Yeah, I think it was Nicaragua. And they had to come up with some reason to go ahead and get him. And they did. But to get Manuel Antonio Noriega, they killed about 10,000 Panamanians, 10,000 Panamanians of West Indian descent and others. I mean, you cannot tell me that Israel and these other places don't seem to just use America as its template when it's taking preemptive action. Adam W. says, aside from Pakistan and India engaging in warfare recently, it seems as though the only countries being attacked and or invaded are those that do not have nuclear weapons. Would Russia have invaded Ukraine if they had nuclear weapons? Nope. And you know what? What you just said was true. Have we tried to invade North Korea? No. Why? Because North Korea don't only have the bomb, but they have a delivery system in ballistic missiles. So now, out of fear or mutual assured destruction, we don't touch North Korea. Let me tell you, if I were Iran, and I'm just saying, the only salvation that they have from the belligerence of Israel is to actually speed up and get the bomb. That's the only thing that ensures that people leave them alone, because in the long run, Israel would know, well, if mutual assured destruction. That's what we use for between Russia and the United States. That's what we use between the United States and North Korea. Maybe again, it's something that needs to be looked into. That is why we stayed the hell out of Saudi Arabia following 9/11. Yeah, so let's be clear, folks. It isn't as simple as one might think. Now, the last subject I'm going to cover before we close out is the big bad bill. I wrote an article just before I came on air, and I released it on Substack titled, let me get the title of that article. The title of the article is, para ver, ¿dónde está el artículo que escribí? I'm finding it right as we speak, friends. Big, beautiful bill screws poor people and Trump voters the most. And what I'm going to read is just a summary, because the rest is kind of building up on that you can with the researched information. But Trump's so-called big, beautiful bill reads like a reverse Robin Hood manual. The Congressional Budget Office shows it drains cash from working families while fattening already bulging billionaire bank accounts. Poor and rural households, many in the very counties that handed Trump his margin, stand to lose essential health care and food assistance, even as the rich pocket a fresh amount of tax cuts. Now, the CBO finds the bottom 10% of earners would lose about $1,600 a year, while the top 0.1% would gain roughly $12,000. Deep Medicaid and SNAP cuts push up to 16 million people, disproportionately in rural America, out of coverage. The measure adds an estimated, and let me put this on the screen as we speak. The measure adds an estimated $2.4 trillion to the federal debt by 2034, despite GOP rhetoric about fiscal responsibility. Work requirements, gimmicks, and block grants cap shift costs to red state budgets already reliant on Washington transfers. And red states, which already make more from the Treasury than they contribute, would be hit hardest when the safety net phrase. So this is what we're talking about here. In short, the bill weaponizes austerity against those least able to absorb it, even as it turbocharges inequality and federal red ink. This is what we have to keep the pressure on. And in the last article that I wrote about our rallies, what I said is Kingwood's new narrative is thus both a warning and a promise. And I'm adding that to what I'm talking about because it is we who are going to make the difference. It warns authoritarian leaders that their cultural strongholds can revolt without burning a single trash can. Why am I putting that here? We have to be the ones out there to change this bill. We have to be the ones out there that are going to make a difference. And we have to grow ourselves and let people understand, let people know that there's no reason to be sad. There's no reason to be mad. There's no reason to be, depressed or or feel like you don't have any choices or you don't have any options. We have options. And those options is to remain engaged. And let me tell you, yesterday when I saw our march, our rally, our protest yesterday, we thought we were going to have 50 people. According to the numbers from the police department who came out there in force, we thought we were going to have 50. We had between 660 and 700 people in our very conservative town, very conservative suburb of Houston that is now experiencing a progressive revival. And that is because as more progressives come out and start to speak the truth and start to give examples of who will suffer, it also gives strength. It also gives courage to all of those who are sitting back and fearful to engage. And that is what we saw yesterday. People that said they've never been out before. People that are tipping their toes into it because there were a lot of people that wanted to talk, wanted to be there, but didn't want their face on. They didn't want their face on, but they're there. They're there with us. They said they had to make their presence. And from not having one's face on to eventually getting there, that's what it's all about. And we saw that in Kingwood. We got more than 10 times the amount of people we expected, folks. You don't know what that means in this town. What that means in this town is a change is on. This is the town where Cruz comes to raise money. This is the town where it happens. All right, let's see what else we have. Para ver. Aside from the Panama conflict is a good documentary for everyone to watch. Yes, actually, it was called the Panama Deception. Yeah, I was about to say that. The Panama Deception is a hell of a, and again, watch that program in detail, and also look and see how they treated the people that they bombed out of existence in Panama. Take a look at how they put them in hangars and treated them like cattle. It was a sad thing. Adam says, I saw the guy, the one that said even the introverts are here. Yes, even the introverts were there. So yeah. Anyway, folks, we are at 47 right now. Is there anybody who wants to call in? Remember, this is for our wonderful paid subscribers. We only got a few in today again because it's my fault for always starting things late. But remember, you will always see a note pop up at different times for when we're going to have this live with you at your convenience. So I tell you what, anybody wants to call in, give me a call at 281-823-7747 before we get out of here. If you're so inclined to do so, I'll wait a couple of minutes. 281-823-7747. Una vez más lo voy a repetir. It seems like the AP, suspect in Minnesota lawmaker shootings caught. All right, that nutcase has been caught. Criminal. I would call in if my father was not sleeping. I hear you, brother. For a Better World says 12.1 people marched, more than a third of the people of the U.S., which total is 134.2 million. Oh, wow. 12.1 million people marched, more than a third of the people of the United States, which total, well, we have 330 million people in the United States, somewhere around there. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're saying, so forgive me if I am. Happy Father's, man. I'm such a terrible person. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers that are listening to this both live and in the podcast. Happy Father's Day. All right, folks. Is there anything else? Put in the chat if there's anything you want me to talk about before I close this down. Just put it in the chat if there's something you want me to mention, talk about. I'll do it before we end. So let me know, and I'll do that before we end. But yes, they just captured the Minnesota criminal, the thug, the assassin, apparently. Let's see. Forgive me if no's wrong. Yeah, no, it's again. I was just wondering what the numbers were trying to say. But if 12.1 million people showed up to protest, I think we are at the magic number of let me see what's that number is. There's a certain percentage that says when you reach that number of people participating, you have crossed the Rubicon, meaning you can actually start a peaceful revolution or whatever kind of revolution that is. So let me see what percentage that turns out to be. That turns out that's the magic number. Actually, believe it or not, for a better world, 12.1 million is it's about 3.6% of the population. And according to any expert, it is 3.6% is enough to change a country. When you get participation on a particular ideology of 3.6% that are active, that is enough to generate change. And what you just told me is between 12 and 15% gives you between 3.6 and a little over 5%. That kind of involvement is enough to change America, because that is the everybody who is into politics or into change politics would tell you that is the number. Well, actually, that is above the number we required. In fact, if you remember a couple of shows ago, Michael Rudden looked it up for us again because I mentioned it, and he wanted to make sure that the statement was accurate. So, yep. So, a better world. You brought those numbers, and we calculated those numbers. We are in for a change if we choose to keep it up. And that is something that we can use for all those people that you talk to that believe there's no options, that believe there's not a possibility that we can make change with what we're doing. Point out that we've actually crossed the number. I'll have to talk about that tomorrow, that we've actually crossed the number. I did not know that many turned out. Well, I put it this way. Think about it. There were 2,000 events, right? 2,000 events. And the Houston event had over, I'm just talking Houston city limits event, had over 15,000 people, I think, between 15 and 20,000 people. LA had 30,000 people, right? And we go city after city after city after city 1,000 times. Little Kingwood, which is a suburb of Houston, call it 650, but 650 is not all that far from 1,000. Think about all the other areas that did it. It is definitely possible. All right, folks, anybody wants to call in? I'm going to wait 2 more minutes. Or if somebody else wants to tell me something to talk about in the chat or wants to call in, we're down to about 1 minute and 30 seconds before I close her up, unless I hear from you. All right. So, but while I close, I want to thank those of you who made it. Again, I apologize for starting late, and or rather for giving you a late notice, not starting late, but giving you a late notice. But you know what? It's going to be like that for our intimate conversation, because what's going to happen is I'm going to rotate it at different times, because some people can make it this time. Some can't. Some can make it at 5 in the afternoon while others can't. So I will be rotating it at different times and just putting the message out. But what I think I owe you is probably to try to be, I can't promise you 100%, but try to be at least give you a 24-hour notice. I'll try my best to do so. But what that would mean is on Friday, I would have to know exactly what time I'm going to do it on Saturday, if I do it on Saturday. So let's see how that works out. Work with me on that. Anyway, since the 2 minutes have passed and I haven't heard from anybody as far as any other subject you want to cover, I want to thank you very much for being here. For those of you who attended the No Kings, whether in spirit or in body, I want to congratulate you on one of the most successful activist event that we've had in this country, bar none. Even Occupy Wall Street wasn't this successful. Adam, I heard that less than 10K. Adam, I heard that less than 10K. Imagine that for Donald Trump's parade, huh? Amazing. Anyway, folks, I want to thank everybody for having been here with us. I'm going to check out now. Let's remember the show starts tomorrow at 6 a.m. on KPFT, 6 a.m. Central on KPFT, and then 3 o'clock Central for our other show. Thank you so kindly, and you have, all of you, a wonderful rest of your night. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.